Hey there, baseball fans. Nathan Rohde and Shooter Hunt here with the latest episode of Coffee and Curveballs. We're coming to you from the ABCA convention in the greater Dallas area, where we're catching up with college coaches and high school coaches from across the country.
The hot stove's heating up. It's time for baseball.
Excellent. Today we're going to talk to David Seifert about the college draft stuff, so please enjoy. I'm joined now by David Seifert, who is our college scouting director and leads the initiative in our partnership with D1Baseball.com. Seif, you've got a year under your belt with working with PBR and D1 scouting. Season number 2 is coming up. You ready to go?
I sure am. I know what I'm doing now.
Excellent. We're going to talk about some of the college draft prospects today, kind of look at the scope of the country. Looks like a really good class for the colleges. And in talking to you about it, it sounds like the talent is pretty evenly spread across the country.
Yeah, last year a lot of the talent was spread in the Southeast, mostly in Florida, the SEC Conference in particular. But this year there's 3 good top players in the West, 4 in the Middle States, and 3 more on the East Coast.
Excellent. So looking at some of those conferences, let's kind of look at those power conferences, and then maybe we'll look at some mid-majors, power majors down the road. But tell me about the Big 12 from your perspective. How is the Big 12 shaping up?
The Big 12 at the top is really good. It has 3 of the top 10 in our rankings college players in the entire country, led by Shea Langoliers, catcher at Baylor, Josh Young, third baseman at Texas Tech, and then Lodolo at TCU, a big left-handed pitcher. So they have 3 of the top players. After that, it gets they don't have maybe as much depth as usual for the Big 12, but they certainly have 3 of the best ones.
And then obviously, one of the most powerful conferences in the country when we're talking about college baseball, the SEC, and they've got a couple of good guys at the top as well, is Will Holland and Zach Thompson. Yeah,
those are their big 2 this year. Last year they had Casey Mize and Singer and Kowar and Jonathan India, so they really had the power at the top. They also had the depth in 2018. This year they don't really have so much the power at the top at this point, what it looks like anyway, but they have plenty of depth. I think they have 34, 35 of our top 150. So it's deep once again, maybe just not those, the outside of Thompson and
right.
Holland, they don't have the top of the first round type guys.
Excellent. And speaking of depth, you talk about the college top 150, right now, those top 150 prospects in that 2019 draft class. With depth, ACC and the Pac-12 look like, they're pretty deep conferences this year.
They are. They're very deep. I think ACC maybe has 24, 25 of the top 150, and then the Pac-12 has something similar, maybe 23 or 24. With that, the Pac-12 probably has the 1-1 in Rushman from Oregon State. They don't have the three first rounders or even 4 first rounders like they did last year, but they got Rushman, and they're gonna have another good team as well.
Excellent. How's the Big Ten looking this year?
Big Ten is down. It's my bread and butter, I guess. The league I played in, league I've scouted a lot over the years, and they just had I think 3 or 4 of our top 150. Not that other guys won't emerge.
Right.
But they're a little bit down. But hopefully that'll be made up by some other conferences around the country, especially the Big East.
Excellent. So let's look at kind of the Power 5. Let's look at some of the mid-majors. Shooter and I, we like to call them power majors because a lot of these teams, it's not like football and basketball. Like there's a lot of conferences out there that very well can compete in and out, day in, day out with those Power 5s, like the American Athletic Conference. So they got a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in these conferences. Well, let's look at Bryant. Northeast School has been pretty competitive, at the national level, making the postseason. They've got Ryan Ward.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. We saw in the Cape Cod. Really good athlete, strong body type. Needs some polish on the tools, and just facing the better competition. So he'll be an interesting. I believe he's even a senior, so he's a guy that could really jump up some boards just with his signability and everything else that comes into play on draft day. But he's a really interesting one. I mean, even at Evansville, they have a big arm in Adam Lucas. UNC Wilmington, Greg Jones, athletic, sophomore eligible, center fielder, shortstop. Who knows where he's going to end up? But he's the type of guy that Major League Baseball teams. He's the type of guy that they want in their system. So he should go pretty good. Obviously, depending on this type of year. So yeah, even the non-powers, the power majors, they got a lot of good players this year.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a pretty good year for me in my backyard in North Carolina. You mentioned UNC Wilmington. Winthrop's got Zach Peak, Campbell, Matt Barefoot, and Seth Johnson. But then Elon, George Kirby, Kyle Bernovich are 2 really big arms.
I saw both of them this summer. Brnovich for Team USA, and then Kirby in the Cape. I think I'm the high guy on Kirby right now, but I mean, there's a lot to like. He looks like a starter. He throws like a starter. He throws strikes. Maybe he could develop this, tighten up the secondary pitches a little bit, but he's going to go pretty good. And then Brnovich is an out machine, slider, but he gets out. So interesting. Elon Phoenix, baby.
I was going to say I might be a little bit biased with the Elon guys, but I'll stand there with you shoulder to shoulder on George Kirby. So one of the things that we've also done with you coming on board and in the last year developing is really the coverage of the junior college prospects. What is the JUCO class looking like for 2019?
2019 looks solid. It will be better than 2018. Probably not as good as 2017, where I think you had Little and Pearson went 27, 28 overall at the back end of the first round. But up top you have Jackson Rutledge. He's a fallback, or was at Arkansas as a freshman last year. He's at San Jack. Big arm, up to 98, has a breaking ball. He can be hot and cold, but I mean, when you're 6'8" and you throw 98 and you have a plus slider at times, you've got a lot of value. And then in Southern Illinois, another 4.24 guy is Peters from John Logan. 6'2", 6'1", athletic, real quick arm. I saw him up to 95, I believe, this fall myself. Above average breaking ball. Again, really athletic and quick arm, so he should go pretty good. Then Farr from I think Northwest Florida, junior college. I didn't personally see him, but we had a couple prep baseball scouts, Freeman and Curbs. They both saw him, and he was really good this fall too. So those guys should go in the top 2 or 3 rounds. After that, there's a lot of depth, and I think that's what 2018 didn't have a lot of, junior college depth. But I think this year they'll have a depth, especially in Florida. It seems like Florida should have a lot of JUCO depth for us.
Excellent. We can add a name to that. Since we've been here at ABCA, the news has broken. Carter Stewart officially at Eastern Florida State. So
good news. We've been waiting for that for about 5 months now. So
we really have.
As long as it's official. Good. Yeah, we even won more. State of Florida.
Exactly. So before we wrap things up here, who are some sleepers in this draft class? Maybe they're in the back of that top 150, or maybe they're even outside of it. Guys that you think could maybe find their way in or make a jump this spring.
One guy I really liked his name's Hunter Biggie from Harvard. I saw him in the Northwoods League. It was just for 1 or 2 innings, but he's up to 93, had an above average plus slider. He repeated his delivery. Maybe a little bit above average athlete, but I really liked him. I mean, he goes to Harvard, so I'm not sure how Ivy League signability plays into everything at the end of the day, but really liked him. Another guy I saw this fall was Kona Quiggle, a first baseman at Grand Canyon. He had a good day, but there was a lot to like, so I don't think it was like this flash in the pan. I saw the best day of his life, but squared up ball after ball after ball with a balanced approach, bat speed and bat strength both. Really liked him. And then kind of a sleeper pick. If it was normal circumstances, just the athlete would go pretty high in the draft. But he's a redshirt freshman eligible from the University of Iowa.
Interesting.
Connor McCaffrey.
Okay.
He's also the son of the Iowa's basketball coach, so that makes it even in tougher signability. But I mean, if you're looking for athlete, you're looking for a lot of the tools that we look for, he's that guy. With all the variables, 3 years eligibility left for basketball, son of the basketball coach, there's more than just he's going to be drafted here. There's way too much. There's a
lot to consider with that.
Exactly.
So, excellent. Well, there's a look at the landscape for the 2019 college draft prospects. Be sure to head to prepbaseballreport.com for more content. David, thank you for joining us as always, and we look forward to your coverage for the season.
I'm looking forward to it too. Thanks, Rhodes.
Excellent. Thank you. Many thanks to David Seifert for catching up with us about some draft stuff.
Next week, be sure to tune in. We'll have the D1 baseball guys, Kendall Rogers and Aaron Fitt, on to talk some college baseball preview for the 2019 season.
Until next time, we'll see you guys at the ballpark.